Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. I'm back with another Monday review. I'm Carly. So today we're going to be reviewing a concealer, which I feel like everyone loves to watch and just like know about new concealers and concealer reviews. So let's get into this review. So I saw Kelsey Rosalie Rouge like raving about this concealer on her, I think on her TikTok and her Instagram. If you don't follow her, she's awesome. We usually like a lot of the same products. And so we picked it up and it is the One Size by Patrick Starrr Turn Up the Base Buttersilk Concealer. It looks like this. And I have the shade Light 4. And this is described as like a pretty full coverage concealer, which normally if you guys watch our channel, my favorite concealer still to this day is the Kosas Revealer Concealer. And that is definitely a little bit less coverage than this, but I'll get into that. So it says an all-day wear, do it all, medium to full coverage concealer that acts as the most targeted texture solver, gliding on the skin like butter on toast, which I do fully agree with. I think the most unique thing about this formula is that it has such a glide ability and like a spread ability that a lot of concealers don't have, including my favorite Kosas. Like my Kosas concealer is definitely a little bit thicker than this, and this is thick enough that it holds its coverage. Like I said, I would consider this full coverage, but it's not so thick that it's hard to spread, where like I feel like that's always the case. Like a lot of high coverage concealers are a little bit more viscous and a little more difficult to spread, but then once they like set down, they're locked down, they're good to go, super high coverage. But then the benefit of like more natural looking concealers, which have a more to like sheer buildable coverage, I feel like those are usually like super easy to spread. People love them. And even like I said, my Kosas one, I would consider that, like I love how it looks like dewy and like natural under the eyes, but it's like a medium full coverage concealer. Still not as much coverage as this, but pretty high coverage, and because of that it is a bit thicker, so it's not, you know, it's easy to spread, but it's not as easy as say like we had tried that First Aid Beauty Bendy Avocado Concealer a long time ago. It wasn't our favorite because it didn't have a lot of coverage, but that one was so easy to spread. So I just feel like the unique thing about this is that it's so high coverage with such blendability, which is really amazing. With this, you really don't need a lot. I can insert the clip of me applying it right now, and I've done this quite a few ways. Like I've applied it all under my eyes, where I used a lot of concealer. I used like maybe a couple dots, and I found that my favorite is now to do like maybe 3 to 4 dots under the eye and do like a really targeted application, because like I said, it blends out so easily and it spreads far. Like it's not like it spreads in a tiny area and then starts to dry down and you're like, oh no, I have to add more. It really does spread a far amount, so you really don't need a ton of product, which is great because that means your concealer will last longer and you'll get more wear out of it. And this is a 7 ml fill, which is pretty high. I don't know what Shape Tape is. I can look that up quickly because I know that Shape Tape is maybe the largest concealer that most of us are familiar with. And I will say it's been a long time since I've used Shape Tape, but from memory, I'd say that maybe has like slightly more coverage than this, very slightly. Like they're both full coverage in my opinion, but that's definitely thicker and not as easy to spread, so that would be the downside there. So Shape Tape is 0.33 ounces. Why don't they have this in milliliters? Okay, so Shape Tape is 7.9 milliliters, which is a ton of product. So this is close though. This is a pretty hefty size concealer. It comes in 24 shades, and I feel like the shades are spread evenly against fair to light to medium to dark and deep skin tones, so that's great. I do feel like even though it's not like an extensive range like Fenty, there's a big enough range that someone could find their shade pretty easily. The only thing I always struggle with is undertones, and this one is neutral red NR, and I feel like that's pretty true. And I've always said this, but I definitely have like a neutral undertone, and it's really hard to find things that don't pull too yellow on me. And I actually don't think that this is too pink. I think it's like pretty neutral, so this shade works pretty well for me. As you can hopefully see in the clip, once this is blended out, it definitely actually looks like pretty natural under the eyes. I don't want to say it looks natural because like I said, it is so full coverage, but I guess it just doesn't look like there's a ton of product under your eyes, which I think is because of the like thinner texture. It really doesn't look cakey. Like I always found Shape Tape to look so cakey on me as I got older, and like my under eyes would look so crepey and dry. I had to stop using it. Even though I love the coverage that gave, it just didn't look good. And I definitely have a lot of fine lines under my eyes. I'm 30, so it's not like I have like a really youthful skin under there, and I really feel like this looks pretty natural for how much coverage it gives, which again I think is a really unique point of difference. And I will say that sometimes I bring my Retin-A a little too close to my eyes, or like my vitamin C, because I found that it does kind of help lighten my dark circles. And since kind of doing that with my actives, I have gotten a little bit of like dry patches under my eyes, which is something I never really had before, but you can't really tell until I have makeup on. And I do think that this concealer, you can kind of see the dry patches, but you really have to be looking close. It's really nothing crazy. Like I said, it doesn't look cakey or heavy on the skin, which is really nice. But I will say that this definitely dries down matte, so I do not set it. And if you have drier skin or drier under eyes, I definitely recommend not setting it. And if you have really dry skin, you may not like this because it is like a true matte finish, I think. I think that the matte finish almost helps to blur though, so again, I really like that. But this is like as matte as I will go under my eyes. I've tried like pot concealers that I used to use, and now that I'm older, I've like tried them under my eyes and I just can't do it because they're like too matte for that area. And that's why I usually gravitate towards a dewier, like fresher look under my eyes. But I've just been really liking this. I'm really actually surprised. I thought that this would be too dry for me, too matte, too heavy looking, but it's not really any of those things. But it is matte. It is a matte finish. So if you have really dry skin, I would just like test it out, see if you like it. You can always return it from Sephora, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised by this. I think that it's a really good deal. Oh my god, did I never even say the cost? It's $25, so I feel like that's a pretty good deal for 7 milliliters of product. Like I said, there's a huge shade range, and this is a lot of product for me. I don't know about you guys, but I don't use a ton of concealer on my face, so I feel like it'll last me a really long time. And so I think $25 is definitely a fair price. And yeah, if you've tried this, let me know what you think. I've been hearing good things, so I want to know.